Hey Fae folk, welcome back to another little bonus video. Today we're going to be unboxing another case of blind box BJDs from kikagoods. So of course I have to start the video out with a huge fat thank you to them for sending me these dolls for free. With that being said, as per usual, I'm not being paid in any capacity. This is just a gift, so I'm allowed to say anything my little heart desires, which means that if I compliment the dolls as we go through this review, it is completely genuine, and if I find something that I don't like, I will say it. If you've seen my previous kikagoods reviews, you will know that to be true. I'm not hesitant to critique these things. But yeah, I do just want to start out by saying a big thank you to kikagoods for sending me these, especially these. Okay, so this is the Hewan 4 Moon series of dolls, and I have been wanting these for ages. They've been like popping in and out of stock on their website, and generally speaking, every time I've gone to look, they've just been out of stock, and this time I went and they were in stock, and they agreed to send them to me, and I'm just so excited. Okay, like I'm always excited about these packages, but I have been wanting these and I'm so hyped. So extra shout out to kikagoods today for sending them to me. As per usual, if you find yourself enjoying these dolls, or if you just like have been eyeing anything else on their website, you can use code fairytale10 to get 10% off of your order. And that is not an affiliate code either. That's not a way that I get money. That's just purely a like thank you code for you choosing to watch this video that highlights their product. So this is the fat case that it all comes in. The top part is my favorite. I want to save this art. I just think that is so pretty. But perhaps the most interesting part for you all is this back side where you get to see all of the different possible dolls that I will be unboxing today. Chances are it'll be all of these. I'm probably not going to get the secret. I've never gotten one of the hiddens before, which is fine because like my main goal is to get these because I really like these. So we have a rabbit, a fox, I want to say. This one looks like a ram, a like unicorn situation going on here, a deer, a wolf, and then the secret is like, I can't exactly tell. It looks like maybe like a wolf or a cat or something with wings. But again, we're probably not going to get that one. So these are likely the dolls that I will be unboxing for you today. I'm very excited. The one on top, that's the one that I want the most. I'm very hype about her. My husband wants this one. So, assuming that I actually get her and there's not some mishap with me getting the secret, I can't believe I just called the potential of getting secret a mishap. But you know what I'm saying. Assuming that this one is in this case, that will be going to my husband's room. He's already claimed her. So, let me go ahead and just open up the case so that I can show you what one of the boxes looks like. Oh, after all that effort, I managed it. So, here is the smaller box, like the individual box. So, if you order like a case pack of 6, this is what you'll get. If you go on their website and you just want one doll and you're like, you know, chancing it, you're doing the full blind box experience, this is what you'll get. So it's very similar, just on a smaller scale. As per usual with these videos, if you've seen me do them before, the way that we're going to organize this is I'm going to be unboxing this one on camera, doing like the whole thing on camera so that you can really see the experience and see what it's like to unbox it. And then the rest I'm going to unbox off camera, but we will still reconvene once I've assembled everything and discuss their details and if there are any problems or if there's anything like excellent that I want to shout out. So let me real quick just move this and get something back behind here so that the camera knows what to focus on, and we'll unbox this bad boy. Huzzah. Okay. Background no longer distracting. It will no longer steal my camera's attention. So let's just go ahead and, yeah. The last time I got one of these cases, I had like remarkable luck making this peel off in a very aesthetic fashion, and I think it's quite obvious that is not going to be happening this time, so that's fine. Normally I don't manage to open these in an aesthetic way. I'm seeing a lot of pink. There's no way. Hold on. I'm gonna pull it up like this so we can see it together. Oh, what's going on here? Red? Oh, is this? Oh my god, that's so funny. First one is the fox that my husband so dearly wanted. Precious. Okay, so everything does come separate, right? We've got like instructions and such. I'm just, you know, we'll reference that if I absolutely have to, but I don't think we're gonna have to. And then they do come with this little like holographic, not holographic, but like shiny card. I think that's quite pretty. I don't know if it's gonna like show up on camera, but the eyes sort of like flash. That's very fun. I always like the little cards they come with. I don't know. I think it's fun to get like a little piece of art with your doll. But this is how the doll proper is packaged, and then all of the clothes come in a separate bag. So we will just get the doll out first, I do need to actually bring out my horrific scissors and get rid of some of the tape. I desperately need to replace these. They don't do much anymore. So there's a lot going on here. Yep. I don't know why I thought that would just stay in there, but that's fine. So there we go. That probably looked so genuinely horrific on camera, and I would just like to apologize. Like, I feel like that probably was a little jarring to just watch a body basically fall apart. There are a lot of extra pieces with this set, so we're just going to start off with the base body here. So you can see they've got like a really fun sort of sculpt where the hands and even like the forearms are really big, and same with like the feet and the shins, like they're kind of chunkalicious. I don't know, I just really think that this is a cute style, like a fun proportion that they have. And they do have, of course, tons of articulation, being a blind box BJD. Not as much as like some. I feel like other ones that I've seen have like better hip articulation, but still like a good chunk of articulation, right? I mean, let's just see if we can get them into like a nice sitting pose. I mean, that's like a full sit, you know. A lot of dolls, like especially fashion dolls, can't always do a full sit, so that's really solid. We cannot get like a split, but still not too bad. That's like about as far as they go side to side. And then, of course, articulation in the arms as well. So plenty of articulation there to keep you happy. These also feel extremely sturdy. I have been using the term blind box BJD. That I am going to say is technically an incorrect term for these specifically. I'm going to keep it real with you. I know like less about the BJD world, so I do apologize if I'm saying anything that is technically wrong. But other BJDs that I've gotten from them have been like properly strung. These have like just joints, just plastic joints. So I've been calling them that. I likely will continue to call them that just because it's easier. But I just want to say, as I'm actually handling the doll, I am realizing and I am fully aware that these are not, technically speaking, like ball jointed doll in the traditional sense. Like there's no string running through them. Listen, personally, I really like the style of articulation. There are absolutely benefits to like the strung BJDs, but this one feels really sturdy. It's holding a pose super well. Like everything just feels really solid. Whereas like the last ones that I got, the wings kept falling out of their socket. And like other ones that I've had in the past, like sometimes the joints are just sort of loose and it's like a little bit harder to get the pose to stick. So not a traditional like technical BJD, but I'm really vibing with this. Like this feels like I'm not going to, but I feel like I could chuck this at the wall and it would be fine, which is nice. We do also get some normal hands. If you don't like the paws, I guess I should have shown better the fact that they all have little paws. I love that part. That's what I wanted so much. Like I just, shut up. That's so stupidly cute. I love that. But if you hate it for some reason, they also have these adorable little fingers. They're so just chunky. Like they're so heavily stylized. And I personally think it's absolutely adorable. You do also get another set of hands that is in more of like a like grip or even just a relaxed position. So that's nice. It gives you some alternatives if you like want to have the hands not be paws, but also if you want them in different positions. Very similarly, we do also get a set of human feet. So if you don't want the paws on the legs, you can absolutely use these little feet in place of that. And I want to say they just pop off, but I actually am going to consult the book. Yeah, so it looks like they just pop off. I will not be making an attempt at replacing them because if you've been here before, you might know that my lovely little hands here, there's an issue with them. Doctors have yet to figure out what is wrong with me, which is super duper annoying. But they're weak and in pain a lot. And right now they're in like a really bad flare up. Like everything hurts. So I'm not going to make an attempt at pulling shit off because that's going to hurt. But you can replace the hands. And then you also get these little, not little, these definitely chunky boots so that if you want your doll to have human feet, they aren't just like walking around barefoot. They have a like shoe option. Definitely not suitable for wear with the paws. Like it's one or the other. You can't have the boots and the paws. But I do like that they thought about that and that it wasn't like, hey, here's feet, but like if you have feet, you're barefoot. I really appreciate the inclusion of these, even though I myself will not end up using them. And then we keep going. So the way that a lot of the dolls available on kikagoods work is that there is a headpiece, a front hairpiece, and then a back hairpiece. And then you click them all together while they're on the doll, and they end up being some degree of secure. Some dolls that I've gotten have been more secure than others. Obviously, we're going to put a head on her in a second, and we'll see how secure her head is. But this is so cool because you get like extra stuff here, okay? So we have two separate faceplates, which is already more than you usually get. This one here on my right, which should also be your right. I'm bad at left to right. This one has like tinier little eyebrows, whereas the other one has like longer, skinnier eyebrows. The one on the right has a tiny painted detail on their nose to sort of make it a little more animalistic looking, as well as like a little, like a three mouth. I don't know what you technically call that, but they have it. And then the one on the other side has a more humanoid mouth sticking their tongue out and does not have the nose detailing on there. If you look at the inside, you can see that the eyes are set in with this little like plastic piece here. And I presume that you could take that out. Yeah, even with my hands, I was able to just like pull it a little bit to get it started to come out. So you could take this piece out and transplant the eyes into this face if you'd prefer to have this face as opposed to the slightly more animalistic one, or you can just stick your own in there. Like you don't have to use the ones that they give you. You can just go ahead and stick your own eyes in there if you have extra eyes or if you want to make eyes or whatever the case might be. The heads also do have these little holes on the side, and those are so that you can stick in the two little less animal ears that it comes with. They're definitely not human ears by any stretch of the imagination. Like they're a lot more like elf fantasy style ears, but they're different than the fox ears or like the wolf or whatever is going to be coming with the doll. So I do think that that's a super fun inclusion as well, to get to have like just so many options. Like I think it's really, really fun how many options these dolls present you with. And I wasn't fully expecting that. Like I just wanted the fun little animal dolls, but I love that there's so much versatility that we've got going on here. Like that is a huge benefit to me. So pop off. When it does come to the hair, we're almost done with the basics. We haven't even gotten to the clothes yet. This is crazy. So the front piece is this red with like just one little stripe of black going through, little bangs there. And then the back piece is really cool. You can see it has magnets set in here, and that's because the ears, the fox ears, are fully removable, and it doesn't look like anything on the side or on the outside, right? So it's not like you remove them and you're left with a magnet here, like a hole or anything there. You literally can't tell. You can have this girl just have like normal hair without any animal ears, and it's totally fine. That also means presumably once we open the others, I could like mix and match them so they don't have to have the ears that they came with, which I think is again like a really, really cool point of versatility. The hair pieces do have a ball joint in there, so you can pose the pigtails themselves for like photography or just for your display or anything like that, which I love that feature. And I will say these are holding on much, much better than the last ones that I had. I loved the last ones that I had. Like that review still was quite positive, but I did point out, I know I said like the wings were loose. The hair was also kind of loose on those. I'm okay. I tugged. Once I tugged, that came out. But like you saw, I was messing around with it for a minute and nothing was going on. So I love that. I just feel like there's so much going on here in terms of just the body. But now I need to show you the clothes. Oh my goodness. Already in the package, they look so detailed. Holy shit. Just pull all that out. We have one more bag in here. So in this smaller bag was some fur, like leg warmers and arm warmers. I will say these do feel kind of cheap. Like the particular faux fur that they've used is definitely not the highest quality. It's not terrible, but it's definitely like not the nicest thing ever. That being said, I do really like that this is a separate piece, so you can have your little animal person have the leg warmers to like mimic the fur, or you don't have to. Like you can really kind of play with the level of like animalistic traits that you want to get in there, which I love to see, even if it's not like again, the highest quality. It's not shit. Like, it's not absolutely awful, but it is just a little lower quality than like the body feels obscenely sturdy. These are not like on par with that, but they're still not terrible. We also do get a little foxtail here that I think just rubber bands or like elastics around the waist. I don't know if there's instructions for that one. Not that one. And this, nope, nothing on here either. So yeah, I'm assuming that this just goes around the waist, and then they've got a little tail. Interestingly, this is much nicer faux fur than this. I don't know if it's just because you can feel the edge where it's been cut on this one, whereas this is like sewn, so it's kind of enclosed. But this feels nicer than this does. So I don't know if that's a good or bad. You can take it or leave it. Then we get this adorable, adorable little like magic hat. Hello? Are you kidding me? This is so cute. So it has holes for the ears. Could be a downside if you don't want the ears displayed on there. But like also they kind of had to do it this way so that you can have the ears. And personally I really like it. There's a star sewn at the top. There are a couple loose threads, but it doesn't feel like anything's like coming apart when I pull them. So they're loose threads, but they're not like the bad, scary kind of loose threads. We have a ribbon going around like the top here. It's a big hat. Like I know she has a big head, but I'm straight up just sliding the hair in here, which is this a little cursed maybe. It's a big hat. That's really fun. And there's lace sewn to the brim. So you get like this super like fun little detail on there. That is going to be so cute once we fully dress her up. This is just like a tiny piece of elastic. I'm guessing this has to be a choker because in the art it looks like she has like a collar at least, but she's got like this going on here. Truthfully, I don't know because yeah, she's got like this already sewn into the dress. Sorry if that was all out of focus. That was my bad. I was looking at the card to look at her picture to see if I could figure it out. So yeah, I don't know if this is like a bracelet. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what this is, but we got it for the dress here. Two teensy little armholes. Like you definitely are going to have to sort of disassemble this doll to get the dress on. So that has sort of derailed my plans for not having to use my hands too much. But there's absolutely no way you're getting the paws or even the forearm, I don't think, through that hole. So there is that, but the belt is sewn on, but it is like a sort of separate piece. It is faux like leather on there with an actual little buckle. There's little metallic fake buttons on there. There's so much detail in this, like the layers to the skirt that match the hat. Has any of this been in focus? What is stealing the focus? I feel terrible. I'm like trying to do my best here. There we go. Very, very cute piece. I think that this like capelet topper though is kind of the best part. I don't know. This is just so fun to me. How do you come together? This is fully sewn together. So this is something that you'd have to put on like before you put the faceplates on your doll. It's not unique to these. I have seen stuff like this before, and it does make sense because it's not like the head is particularly difficult to take off, although there is always this piece. But for this one, I feel like this is a lot less scary. For the ones that are like properly ball strung and you have to like take this off to get a neck piece on, you have to kind of be careful to make sure that the string doesn't get sucked inside the body because that will make the whole doll fall apart, right? But since this isn't like a proper ball joint, you can just take this part off, get this on, and then pop it back on. It is kind of arduous. Like it is definitely more of a process than fashion dolls that we might be used to here in the US. But I do like that at least with this body, there's like less risk there. And it is important to note that it's not, again, unique to this specifically. So like, it wouldn't be fair of me to be upset about it when it's not specific to them. It's just sort of a fact that comes into play when you're buying BJD dolls, even when it's not like technically a BJD. So I don't know. I'm rambling at this point. I am going to go figure out how to put all this together without hurting my hands. And then I will rejoin you once I have figured that out, and I will show off what our little doll looks like and how I'm going to set her up. So give me one moment. Alrighty, so it is in fact actually the next day, and I already know we have questions. I understand because I was supposed to just put this girly pop together and then show her off individually and then do all of the other ones. but we had some slight trouble. So I'm just gonna let you stare at all of them in all of their cuteness whilst I discuss said troubles. I did put the fox girl together completely by myself, okay? In doing so, I found that I had a really hard time with her joints and her like hands and everything, because to get her entire outfit on, I did have to take off her hands and her feet. Just like trying to get these on over the paws doesn't happen, and I could not get her dress on without taking like off her paws at least. It actually ended up being that I ended up taking off from the elbow down. But like it's literally impossible. Like you cannot dress these dolls unless you take those elements off, which isn't unique for BJDs. Like I've absolutely had stuff like that before, but it's just like something to note. And the reason that it's especially notable this time is because it was so difficult. Now, I think I alluded to the fact that my hands don't work super well, and that's true. And so when I did this one, I immediately was like, okay, so this is just like a task that is too much for your hands. This is like a lot for you. Also, I'm sorry, my cat is screaming for attention off camera. So yeah, I did the one and was like, oh, I'm in immense pain now trying to like pull them off and pop them back on and everything. That's probably just a me problem because again, weak little hands. So I just waited until that night, and then I had my husband help me with the rest of them. Now, I do want to say, just because, like, while I am not in the business at all of sugarcoating things, like, I'm never going to claim something is better than I genuinely think it is because I value being honest with you. That does sort of go both ways. I don't want to critique something and have it just be the case that, like, it was just me or like I had a fluke or something like that. You know, like I don't want to be too mean either. Like I want to be honest on all counts. So I do just want to say he also had a lot of trouble assembling these dolls. He also found it really difficult to pull all of the pieces off and pop them back on and all of that jazz. There were a couple that we like miscoordinated. I think at one point he put the legs back on, like the rabbit girl or something it was, and I had not put the fur on her yet, and so like he had to do it a couple times, and he did say it got easier once you did that like first initial pull, like taking it on and putting it or taking it off and putting it back on, but it was still very difficult. That being said, I'm still hesitant to 100% condemn these just because out of the two people who were trying to put them together, one of them, me, has very iffy hands. And then the other one, my husband, is not necessarily used to handling dolls in that way. So, like, I'm not trying to minimize what he went through. Like, I very much appreciate that he was willing to help and, like, all of that jazz. And I feel bad that it was also difficult for him and his hands were, like, a little bit sore afterwards. Part of that could be just because he might be like pushing incorrectly or something like that because he's not super used to this type of thing. But even with those explanations being said, I think it's fair to say these are difficult dolls to assemble. Like, I just think that if you have to have perfectly functioning hands and also a ton of knowledge about like how these things usually work to be able to get them on even maybe easily, because even then I don't know for sure that it would have been easy, right? Like I didn't have a third test subject that fit that criteria. I just feel like it's fair to say you are going to experience some degree of difficulty if you get these trying to get them dressed, and like if you're switching out the hands or anything like that, you're going to experience some degree of difficulty. It might not be as bad as we had it because again, like it could have just been our particular circumstances, and especially me, like the hand pain definitely did not help at all. So I'm not saying that it's like an impossible task or that you are destined to feel terrible at the end of it, but these are definitely not the easiest things to get dressed. The flip side of that is that they do feel extremely secure. Like they're not falling apart. There's absolutely no way, if you have all the stuff attached correctly, that their legs are just going to like randomly pop off on you because they are in there. So it's sort of a double-edged sword. It's bad because I do think that it was quite difficult, like more difficult than it really needed to be to get them all situated. But on the bright side, they're not going to fall apart on you. So take that for what you will. But I just had to get that out of the way before I could talk about any of them individually because, like, That's sort of a big thing, but now we can go ahead and go through left to right and just discuss all of the details of the individual dolls. So, to go ahead and begin our like one by one little discussion of these girly pops, we have to start off with the Fox girl who was supposed to be in the limelight first anyway. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is that she is not, in fact, wearing her super duper cute hat that I gushed about, and that's because it just doesn't really fit, right? Obviously, you would want the hat to be quite flush with the head, but the way that the holes are situated, you see how they're like much more of a vertical hole, how I have it oriented here, where it's like wider top to bottom than it is side to side. That's sort of the opposite to how the ears sit on the head, right? Like they definitely sit wider side to side than they do top to bottom or like back to front, however you want to call it. You can rotate them, but like then they very clearly don't look right. I mean, even if you go the other way, it's like they look a little bit weird. And then they're a little bit far apart, so it still doesn't like sit the way that you would want it to sit. And because they're magnetic, like this is the best that I can get it. Because they're magnetic and not a permanent fixture, it's not like you can like push and pull on the hat to get it to fit because then the ears are just going to fall off. So it really does just seem like these holes were sort of sewn in the opposite direction that they should have been. If they were wider at the sides, I think this would be a perfect fit and it would be extremely cute. But unfortunately, as it is, the hat does not hat. It doesn't sit the way that it should. So this is going to be something that I'm going to have to like cut the holes a little bit wider to make the hat fit on, which is, it's definitely a bummer. So I feel really bad that we're like not starting off super strong. Like from an aesthetic standpoint, these are some of my favorite dolls I've gotten from kikagoods. I think they're so gorgeous, but like I cannot deny that we're having some problems. That being said, she does look so just obscenely cute in her little outfit once you can get it on. Like it is really just quite precious. I like how the tufts of fur look with the like hands and the feet, the paws, if you will. I do think that that just looks really, really nice. The clothing is extremely high quality, like extremely high quality. The fabric feels like very thick. You can see there's different layers of different textures here. I know like these clothes I did show in detail when they were off of the doll, so you sort of have a little bit better idea of what they look like in that case. But genuinely, like it is so nice. I mean, even this cloak is like double lined. It's not just one piece of fabric. It's like two layered together. So it's really nice, really thick. And now that it's on, she looks extremely cute. She does have her little tail poking out here. You could also, if you wanted to, because the dress velcros all the way up, you could have it poke out like at the top and then just velcro underneath it as well. So you can get like some diverse ways to display that, which I think is a nice little factor. So once it's all on the doll, I really don't have any complaints for her. It was just the process that it took to get here. But that is our fox girl. I know like that was pretty quick, but it's just because like I said, we've already gone over her clothes, so you know. There's no point really dwelling on those. We are going to linger a little bit longer on the others, starting off with the wolf girl. Now, while my husband was helping me put these together, he did commandeer her as well. So he will be taking both of these dolls once I'm done filming, which is a first. This is the third time I've gotten a set that Tony has wanted to like have one of them in his game room, which I do think is just like absolutely precious. I don't know, like I love that that's a little thing that we can share and it's like super cute. But this is the first time he's wanted two. So aesthetically speaking, that says a lot. Here is the alternate faceplate that the wolf girl came with. Obviously, I'll show you the faceplate I have on her in a second there. But this one has like an open mouth and again, the longer eyebrows. All of the second faceplates have longer eyebrows, and then like the mouths are a little bit different, but they're different in different ways. So I did want to be able to show off all of the different faceplates. As far as what they all come with, outside of the faceplates obviously being unique to the character, like so they have the right color like eyelashes and everything, everything else that they come with is exactly the same. They come with exactly the same extra feet, hands, ears, and boots, which I do think is a little bit disappointing. We got these exact same boots for every single one of these characters, and it's not even the sculpt that I find disappointing. Like it is what it is. I wouldn't be upset if they all came with the exact same sculpt of boot like they do. What bothers me is the color. Like these three in the middle, brown. I mean, I guess you could argue this one because she's got like the brown horns, but definitely the wolf girl and like the unicorn. They should have gotten this sculpt, but in black. On camera, I feel like it's showing up a little darker, but it's very decidedly brown, and I do just think it would look a little goofy. Obviously, this wouldn't be a horrifically difficult paint job if you got these and wanted them to be black, but like you would have to do it yourself, which I don't love. I do think that some of these definitely don't look as good in the brown color, and I do wish that they had just changed the color, even if they were going to keep the sculpting the same. So there is that. But to go ahead and look at our wolf. So she does have bigger ears than the fox girl for sure. You can see the size difference there. They're a lot longer and taller. I do want to just like switch them real quick just to prove a point. So see, if you want to, you can make little like hybrid critters out of these because you can switch around their ears, and obviously you could like switch the paws and like the fur and tails and stuff like that as well. So if you're getting more than one, I do think that that's sort of fun that you can like mix and match them. She's got sort of a mixed front piece of her hair, so half of it is pulled back in this sculpted braid with a sculpted bow here, leading to a little like side ponytail, and then the opposite side is completely loose. I really do like the gradient that we've got going on here at the tip, and then goes around the side like it's being all pulled back into that ponytail. You can see the hole where her ears would go. But like obviously I didn't put the ears in because she's got these ears. So I do think that's like a little bit funny, but I understand that that's really kind of unavoidable because like you want to make sure that the ears, the more humanoid ears can be put in if you would like for them to be put in, but it's just sort of a funny thing to me. But here we can see her face, so see how we've got like the tinier eyebrows and the mouth is different than before, but the like eyelashes are the same. And yeah, like I said, that's going to be the same sort of format that we get for all of them, just catered to their faces specifically. So for this one, her outfit did come in two separate pieces. This entire top portion, including like this skirt bit, is all one piece, all connected to itself. This is so, so gorgeous. Again, just looking at like the different fabrics that are being used and the layers. Her ruffled sleeves have two little layers of ruffles. There's fur sewn in around the armholes. This little cutout I think is a nice break. We've got the belt with the buckle, and this fabric is very, very pretty. I think that on camera, like I think you'll be able to tell that it's not super super cheapy fabric, but I do think that the particular glimmer that it has, like the pattern, the way that these strands are like woven through, could on camera maybe look a little bit cheap, like it could give a little bit Mattel paper fabric flashbacks. I can assure you it is actually quite soft and really nice, and in person like the faint shine from the way that the threads are woven in, it's really, really pretty. So I cannot fault them whatsoever on the quality aspect there. Like they're just really, really solid. Her pants are quite tight, so it was a little tricky to get the fur on. But my husband, since he was going to keep this one in his room, did want to try to get the fur on. So she's kind of like sucked in around the shin there to keep the fur underneath the pants. But you can make it happen, which is nice. And she does have her wolf tail, so it's the same way. It's just like an elastic band that basically functions as a belt that goes around her waist, but the tail is shaped a little bit differently to be more wolfy. And then, yeah, of course, the pants are just the one solid fabric, but it's quite soft, quite nice. So yeah, the theme, spoiler alert, is generally going to be that the quality feels so nice on the fabrics. It's just that minor issue of like the struggle it takes to get them dressed. Will you stand up for me in a way that like you aren't completely off camera? There we go. Next, we're going to be looking at the Ram doll, who is a contender for one of my favorites. I'm going to rank them at the end. They're definitely a contender. Here is their little card, and then this is their alternate face. So for them, again, like the longer eyebrows, and then the mouth is open. This one, I am a little bit sad because I was thinking about switching this faceplate. All of the other ones are like the default they came with. I was thinking about this one. This was the only one that I was like kind of considering, but yeah, it's not showing that well on camera. But right here, where like the star is in the middle of her forehead, there's like some remnants of like adhesive, it looks like. It's kind of hard to tell what it is. And again, it's not showing up on camera. So like that's supremely unhelpful for trying to show this off to you guys. But there is just like a little bit of mess on her face. I might be able to wash it off. I will certainly try later. But yeah, that's just a little disheartening that the one that I wanted had like a little bit of a problem there. But the doll herself, she's got this crazy veil, right? Okay, because she's dressed up sort of like vaguely like nun-ish. I don't know much. I was not raised Catholic. So I don't know much about the exact dress that nuns have. So I don't know how accurate this is, but I feel like it's pretty clearly Catholic inspired. And I will say, I want to be careful with how I say this. The way that I view religion is colored by the way that I experienced religion. And while I was not Catholic, I was raised quite strictly Christian. That's not my vibe. That does not mean that I hate you if you are a Christian or a Catholic. It's just, it's certainly not for me. Like the version of religion that I was introduced to has made it so that I will certainly never be any sect of Christianity for the rest of my life. There's absolutely no way. And I think that that's just like the nicest way I can put it while I'm still being honest. That being said, I am still kind of a sucker for the look. Like, technically, I think that might be something close to sacrilegious if you're super, super religious, but I don't really know what to tell you. All I can say is that while from an outside perspective, because Catholicism seems to have a lot of the negative points as the type of Christianity that I was raised with, they know drip. They they know how to dress. So yeah, I do tend to find myself drawn towards these sorts of designs, and this one is no exception. The little plus sign up there, because it is more of a plus sign than a cross on her veil, but there's like a distinct cross down here. The veil though is so so nice, like the lace that's sewn all along the edges is super pretty. This just attaches with a little elastic going under her chin. I really do think it's quite well hidden. Like sometimes you get accessories like that and it's painfully obvious. I feel like this one is pretty well hidden and like lays pretty nicely. So I'm very happy with that. Her ram horns are removable so you can take them out. And then she also like has sort of an extra bonus, right? Because she's got the horns, but she also has ears. She did still come with the where are they? There we go. With these little ears as well. But instead of just having the pair on her head and then like the tiny pair, because she comes with horns on her head, she got these. So she's kind of extra special in that way. And then for the rest of her outfit, it was all one piece. So that was kind of interesting. She was the only one that had literally only one piece of bodily clothing to put on, but it is still really nicely detailed. As I said, there's like the little metallic cross here. There's ruffles sewn on. There's like a little bit of layering going on, or like the illusion of layering going on with her sleeves. There's a bow up there. She also has these little faux buttons on the like bust portion of her dress, little metallic studs, which I think is very cute. Her dress on the front portion does have this extra white panel here, so like this could kind of be displayed to show a little bit of that. And of course she's got like the little paws and everything too. I just think this is adorable. I will say the paws are not accurate to a ram. Like certainly sheep do not have paws, they have hooves. Hooves. What a fun word. But I think it looks really cute. Like, you know, these are not necessarily meant to be super accurate. I just love that one. I just think she's so fun. Also, I do think that the fact of having a ram, a sheep be in like the religious ensemble, if you know, you know, like that does feel very apropos, like the Lamb of God, that sort of thing. I don't know. It's just it's tickling me. Okay. I really am vibing with that one. She also, I didn't even talk about her face or her hair really. Wow. I got so distracted. Her face is so gorgeous to me. Just the like super light painting of her eyelashes where they're like this lovely gold color that perfectly matches her eyes is just crazy. And then the hair is iridescent, which we love to see a gradient from white to a very, very light yellow. And it is quite long in the back. Very beautiful. I cannot believe I almost forgot to show y'all that. Like, I'm just getting a little too hype. But forging forward, we are halfway through. Next up is the unicorn. So this is her card. I think it's really cool that the unicorn is like sort of edgy instead of being just like this sweetie pie character. Because I feel like unicorns, typically speaking, are more associated with like cuteness and clouds and rainbows and pastels, as opposed to like this dark, like almost assassin aesthetic. But I'm really, really vibing with it. I am a little sad she didn't come with this knife she's got here. I think that would have been super cool if they got like props. They're really fun as they come, but I'm just saying that could have been kind of fun. So let's go ahead and compare their faces really quick. So this time the extra face does have a bit more of an expression. Like, yes, the eyebrows are longer, but they're also like in a, like, one's up, one's down sort of look, which I do think is kind of fun. But I don't know, there's just something about this mouth type and like the little nose details that I find it hard to argue with. I also really love that her pupils are like a lighter color than her iris. I think that's such a fun, striking design. Most of the other ones are not like that, and it just makes her stand out. And like, I don't know, I think she's kind of sick. So for her hair, it's longer in the front here. We've got like these face framing pieces and some pretty heavy bangs. She does have the sculpted on unicorn horn. This is actually quite sharp, okay? Like, if you have kids or pets, please be careful. Or even just for yourself, please be careful. Like, that genuinely could hurt if you like accidentally step on it or if you drop it on yourself. It's sharp, but it's nice. And then she's got like a little braid very neatly tucked back here, presumably so that she can wear her hood. If I can look at that. Look at her hood. This is really, really a cool piece. So there is the hood piece, and then there's these trailing bits here. And these pieces do have wire sewn into this top portion, so you can sort of like twist them around each other. That's crazy. But you could sort of like twist them to secure it so that the hood doesn't move. You can make them like have different little poses and stuff. So it looks like her scarf portion is like trailing dramatically in the wind, especially because it does have these, little like holes and bits, quote unquote, torn out of it. Let me put her hair back on. I just think this is a really, really fun piece. I'm probably not going to display her with the hood up, but I like that that's an option. I like that we have options there, and I love that like the wire in this just allows for a lot more creativity there. I don't know. She does not have anything on her head, and I don't believe she has magnets. Let's find out. No. Okay, so there's not any magnets in her head because she's not designed that way, but she did again come with like the more humanoid ears as well as these ears that we've got going on here. And she's got this super fun feature. So this is just like a teensy bit of cloth, like just a little stretchy cloth that was included, and it loops around each ear. You can kind of see that black piece there. That's the cloth so that you can pull it up to be a mask. Hello? I think that is genuinely so, so cool. And then her outfit is a shirt, pants, and a belt. The belt is a completely separate piece, so you could take that off if you wanted. It's got the faux leather straps as well as some chains going on here. I'm trying to like get it down enough so you can see it. But that's really, really cool and really detailed. Also, I'm assuming that this was a mistake, but I did get a second shirt in mine. So this is what the shirt looks like by itself. Yeah, again, I'm almost certain that that had to be a mistake because there's not really any reason for me to get a second shirt, and I didn't get second pieces or like duplicate pieces in any of the others, but it happened. She is the only one who right now is not wearing her like leg fur. I just wasn't sure with the pants because they are like long and baggy, right? I wasn't 100%. I might put them on in the future, but for right now, this is like what they look like without the leg fur and everything. You can see right there, see nothing going on. You can bunch these up a lot higher though, and like in the picture on the box, it looks like it's supposed to sit here with the leg fur. So I just haven't decided, but that's a problem for both me and my husband at another date, because if I want to put the leg fur on, he is certainly going to be taking the legs off for me. But yeah, that is the unicorn girl. Once again, not accurate in the sense that unicorns also do not have paws and also have hooves. I mean, horses have hooves, and so therefore probably unicorns would have hooves, but I don't know. It's just cute, y'all. Okay, next up we have the bunny girl who, listen, I high-key was like, this is going to be my least favorite of the group by far. This is her card here. Okay, I've said this before. Even when I'm getting these things for free, like I did with this set, I still don't want blind box sets that I like don't like the majority of. Whether I'm paying for it or not, I will not buy a blind box unless I would be happy with like 90% of the options right. And so when I was like getting this, it was like, okay, I'm really excited for all the other ones. Like I genuinely love all the other ones. Didn't at the time know my husband was going to take two of them, but that's honestly even better, like for him to also want them. And I was like, the rabbit, I'm not really feeling the rabbit, but that's still a pretty good spread, right? To like 5 out of 6, I think that that's perfectly fine. I was so pleasantly surprised by this little goober. Like, hello. Okay, looking at the hat, we're gonna compare faces in a second. But looking at the hat, the detail alone on this little like ornamentation here is so cool and so pretty. Just like that's so detailed. That's so nice. The hat again is attached just with like a loop under her head. And again, I feel like that's reasonably well concealed. Like it doesn't, obviously you can see it, but it doesn't look bad. The ears for her are sculpted on, so her bunny ears are stuck in this downward position and they are a part of this hair. So she is kind of inherently the only one that like you can't un-animal if you wanted to, because it's part of the hair and there was not an extra hair piece. So like she is going to be bunny no matter what. But the face framing pieces on this one, I don't know, like there's just something a little softer about the way that the sculpting is done for her bangs and everything. She's got a cute little bob going on. It's quite precious. And then to look at the faces, so the one she has got going on obviously has the little bunny nose and a slightly open mouth. The extra one looks like nervous, which is adorable, but also so sad. Like I don't want her to be nervous. So yeah, she's wearing the default. I just lost her face paint. I just completely dropped that right off the edge of my desk. But she's so just cutie pie. Her outfit was also in, I think, the most pieces of anyone's. So we have this shirt here that is like a really nice material. It is like ever so slightly sheer, but it does feel like quite high quality. And there are little laces sewn in that are like 3D proper laces. Then her cloak is a separate piece that straps across her chest. It's very nice. Like I love the colors that they chose for it. There's like a little button detail here. Strap is super cute. This belt is a separate piece, so you can take it off completely. And then the pants, or like the shorts rather, are a separate piece. Like there's just so many bits and bobs on this, and every piece of them feels really nice. My only complaint would be the shorts. The like lining on the cuff here is just a little too high up. I don't know, like you can definitely see some strings of like that darker brown poking out around her thigh, and I don't love that part. That's really like the only issue that I have though. Everything else is just so cutie. But I will say also like in this she's got the music like all around her. I wish she came with an instrument. Like again, just the idea of having an accessory with these, I think that would have been so cutie patootie, but even as is, she might still be my least favorite. I'm not sure. We have to think about that in a minute. But I actively was like, I'm not gonna like this one, really. And she's precious. I'm very excited to have her on the shelf. But that does bring us to the last one, which is like this little deer girly, who again is going to be inaccurate with the paws. At this point, you should be aware of this. Just sort of know it's happening. She does have, there we go, this little like laurel piece that goes around her head that I think is absolutely stunning. It is a little finicky, like to get it to rest nicely. Honestly, having it rest this perfectly was like a complete fluke, and now I'm a little scared to move her. But it does look really, really solid. Very cute. I love the transparent plastic that it was made from. Her horns, or these aren't horns, right? What are these technically called? Antlers. There we go. Because antlers are antlers a type of horn? Someone who knows these things, let me know in the comments down below. I don't really know, but to be more specific, we're going to call them antlers. So she's got her tiny little antlers there. They are sculpted into the hair, though. So once again, you can't take that off. Like you can't really remove that part of her. I don't know if I said the bunny girl was the only one like that. If so, my bad. Because the antlers, yeah, you can't take those off, but I wouldn't want to anyway. I think they're so cute. She's got these two gradient braids framing her face, and then a little gradient bob going around, and she's so gorgeous. For her, these ears are actually a little bit longer than all of the other ears that the other characters got, and she also came with a pair of the smaller ears. So this is the more dramatic version of her, which I obviously went with. Like, if you're gonna give me options for elf ears, I'm gonna pick the big ones every time. She also has these really fun, unique eyes where the pupil is like star shaped. I think that's super cool. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see. Let me bring both faceplates up so you have like a double chance. But under her left eye, like left as you view it, sort of on top of like that little bit of blushing, there is a white butterfly painted on. I sort of wish it was a different color so that we could see it a little bit better because yeah, I don't think you can see that at all on camera. And even in person, it's extremely subtle. It's a very cute concept, though. Like, I do love the idea. It's just, you can't really see it. For her, her outfit is in a couple of pieces. Hold on. We have a piece that is awry. There we go. Okay, problem solved. She has this little choker that is a separate piece that was just riding up, so you couldn't see it. So I had to fix that real quick. You do have to take off like the neck attachment to get that on. But with this not being a strung doll, it really wasn't a stressful process. And oddly enough, that was like the one thing that popped off super easy for me. So that was fine. And then the top portion of her outfit is all one piece. So like this more like dress looking element of it is all one piece with like these green tendrils and the green bow and like all of the layering around her sleeves and everything. She's got one set of sleeves that sort of goes more over the shoulder and then one that's like a little more off the shoulder. And she also has this huge, gorgeous bow in the back, like just very, very pretty. The only separate piece is this little white panel. It's just like a plain white circle skirt. It's honestly like more of a modesty piece than anything it looks like because she could be a little scandalous otherwise, but extremely pretty. And she's just giving like forest fairy, especially with the way that the bow lays. Like it almost looks like the illusion of wings. She's very much up my alley. I think those of you who have been here before will undoubtedly know that. She doesn't rest very well against the backdrop with her laurels, so those are probably going to continue to look a little goofy. But that concludes all of the details of the Hewan for Moon series. So now it's time to rank them. Okay. Favorite is the hardest part, so I gotta just get that out of the way real quick. I think I have to call this my favorite. Like it's just so inherently me. I love fairies. I love like these little woodsy type characters. The green and the yellow are really, really aesthetically pleasing to me. Like she just is for me. Very close second place is this ram for all the reasons that I discussed before. Also, the only one who gets the iridescent hair. I just, I'm obsessed with it. It is so pretty. I think that the unicorn is actually going to come in third place for me. I just think that she's got an interesting styling done. Like it just feels different and fun and fresh. And the mask is doing a lot of heavy lifting. I think that that is just such an insanely cool piece to get to have. Do I actually like the rabbit more than the other two? Or is that just because I'm like not getting attached to them because I know that they're going to go to Tony? I think I do like the rabbit more. I think the rabbit is fourth, and then the fox is fifth, and the wolf is sixth, which is not how I expected those rankings to go when I was just looking at the box. But like that's always how it is for me. I don't know. Like getting them out of box just makes me feel a little bit different. So those are my rankings for favorite to least favorite. But again, I do really genuinely think that all of them are quite beautiful, especially as I said in person, like out of the box and everything. Really, really solid. So aesthetically, is like a 10 out of 10. Like no questions asked. This is purely from an aesthetic standpoint, one of the best sets I have ever gotten from kikagoods. They're so glorious. But with that being said, we obviously did have a couple of negatives, namely the difficulty that I experienced in just putting these together. That was really genuinely a lot. And again, like I don't want to blanket statement say it's going to be that way for everybody, but I do think it's fair to say that they are going to be at least somewhat difficult compared to your average doll of this type. It's just a level of like that severity is going to go up for different people, and that's sort of a person to person basis. But that's like the number one negative to me is just that they are a little bit hard to handle. And then this hat not fitting is like a huge bummer to me. Like I have to fix this for Tony because I can't give him this cute little fox girl and not let her have the hat. Like that would be so mean of me. So those are my two big negatives. But on the other hand, these do retail for 27 US dollars, which like I do understand is a lot for a blind box for the type of dolls that like people like myself here in America might be used to. That is a very, like, comparable price to other styles of these, like, blind box BJDs. Like, I feel like that's a very normal price for this style of doll, and I do feel like you're getting more than you do with other dolls that are, like, in this same category, right? Like, if you compare it to a G3 Monster High doll, it's like, okay, they might be on the same sort of level as far as quality. These are going to have more articulation, but the Monster High dolls are going to have rooted hair. The Monster High dolls are not going to have like difficult assembly. But if you're going like with this versus other blind box BJDs, the fact that you get an entirely separate, fully painted faceplate, I think is really, really cool. All of the extra hands and feet that you get, I think is really nice. And the clothing is genuinely so high quality. Outside of the hat not fitting and these shorts having a little bit of like the threading visible, every single one of these pieces is extremely, extremely high quality. Like they genuinely feel so, so good. And going back to what I said before, yes, these were difficult to put together, but they are unquestionably like leagues sturdier than any other blind box BJD that I have gotten. So it is again one of those catch 22 things because like while me and my husband were in the middle of this, we were like, we never want to do this again. But also, I would rather do this again than have more blind box BJDs that like feel like I can't hold them because they're going to crumble. Another thing that I want to note when it talks about the quality is, like I said, I got this extra shirt from the unicorn pack. And while we were trying to put all this together, my lovely darling cat Reese was down here because she wants to know what's going on and she wants to be a part of things. And so I did sacrifice this shirt. Okay. I threw this off and was like, okay, Reese, you can play with this one. And she was going feral. Like she was going at it. She said, it is my mission to destroy this shirt. There's literally not a scratch on it. There's a couple loose threads right here. So like this was a cat toy for a night. And I left it on the ground overnight for her because it was the extra. So it was like, okay, whatever, she can have it. And it's fine. So I do think when you talk about the quality, like I don't want to diminish the fact that it was difficult to put them together, but I also am just like, that might be a fair trade-off for getting dolls and clothing both that are clearly so, so sturdy. So those are sort of my final thoughts. If you are someone who is willing to endeavor with like putting in a little bit of effort, a little bit of like literal physical effort into putting these dolls together, then I cannot sing their praises enough. Like I genuinely do believe that outside of that major negative, like this is not super. I'm not trying to like not say that, but outside of the big negative of them being like a little bit difficult, these are 1,000% worth it. Like absolutely, really, really excellent dolls to the point where I would have paid. Like if I had gotten like 3 of these for free, I would have wanted to get the other 3. So that's sort of my endorsement. Of course, I know that is easy for me to say because I was gifted them, but that's just like sort of how I'm feeling internally. So those are all of my thoughts. Please do let me know your thoughts on this set. There we go. This set in the comments down below. Let me know who is your favorite and also like weigh in on the issue of, is it better for them to be very sturdy and hard to deal with or less sturdy and easier to deal with? I'm just kind of curious how y'all are feeling about that one. And then also don't forget that you can use code fairytale10 if you want to get some of these, but you don't want to pay full price. That'll get you 10% off your order. So feel free to use at your will. But that is going to be it for me for today, guys. Finally, I'm done yapping away about these. So I hope you're able to enjoy. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night, whatever it might be. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.